Okay, now I should be live. Just out of curiosity, did I say, okay, now I'm live when this started, or did I say something before that? I'm kind of interested in knowing how this new button on YouTube works, because I've started doing these scheduled live streams. Okay, I think I'll just put this recording thing on, and if at any point you want to see an overhead camera, I think I have one right here. That is now also available. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick few second live replay of this mess that I'm gonna start working on, and this is really quick. So as you can see, this painting was like 5 different ideas. This was about 5 minutes of doodling different things, and then when I saw this, you can see that when I go through these different ideas, I always make a duplication of the same layer, and then I make a new version. I mean, a new version out of a duplication. So I continue the same sketch, but I kind of divide that timeline into different paintings, because those other ideas, they might also be something that I want to work on in the future. But for now, this is the thing that I want to work on, so I'm gonna keep it and see where this goes. Just a quick thing, I'm just maybe yeah, I'm gonna crush these. And the brush that I'm gonna be using is Foggy Hill again, because I just love this brush, and I have decided this new method for doing perks this month for my members. So I'm not gonna do like one single download package for the month of December, but I'm gonna keep adding to the same package all of December, so it can be like Christmas calendar of like fun art stuff. I'm not gonna post stuff there every day, but I'm gonna make an effort to put something new for them people who are in my membership every single month. So I already have cool stuff made for it, and I can't wait to share them with the community. Also, we have other fun stuff, like we're gonna do this feedback session soon. People have already sent their paintings out of that thing, and I think that's going to be really fun. I haven't done like a feedback session with people who follow me anywhere before, so this is gonna be fun. And we also have like those lessons that I have made, so the feedback session is going to be based on that information that is already available to them. I'm gonna put my own sound a bit lower. I don't know if this kills the music for everybody. It's just easier for me to concentrate when I can hear myself. Okay, so there was like a lot of brain clutter in my head when I was thinking about this idea, and it all just kind of boiled down to that I want to do this like one simple thing in a really messy way, because the thing that I like about this brush that I can kind of build these different layers of color on top of each other, and that's method that I want to explore in this illustration. Sometimes it's really good to just allow yourself to have fun with your paintings. It is a lot harder than it sounds, unfortunately. So how everybody's doing? Can you make somebody saying, I can already answer that question, I won't. And whatever you are about to write, don't like hold that. There's no driving in these live streams. Probably in some other live streams, but I'm not that kind of a person. Also, it's likely that I might do that idea, but if somebody keeps asking me one thing to paint on this channel, then it's like less likely. Sorry, I just know how my creativity works. It's kind of a rebel. Waypoint is writing. I was. That's funny. I idolize your art, and you're one of my favorite artists. Okay, this is already awkward to read this out loud. Thanks for doing what you're doing. Yes, I will be doing what I'm doing, which is this bear. Honestly, when I was planning this live stream, I was thinking like maybe I should do something like more realistic for a bear this time, and then I went online and watched all of these like reference pictures of bears. But then I already had this sketch that I did in 5 minutes, and I was like, this isn't gonna improve my idea in any way, because I already love this kind of like silly look that the bear has. So I just felt like whatever kind of fixing I would do to this would just definitely destroy it. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep this look that it already has and try not to destroy it, as opposed to polishing it to something that is not that helpful. Also, I haven't completely gotten the way that this brush reacts to the pen pressure. I just don't have that in my muscle memory yet, so that's why I wanted to keep using the same brush, because I used it for so long in my previous painting, so I already have kind of a good momentum going in learning this brush. There's that word. And that's the stuff that I cut out of my YouTube videos. You have no idea how many awkward poses there are. Sometimes when I just listen to myself talk, it's just like, oh my god, I'm never gonna be able to edit this into one cohesive sentence. But you would be amazed the kind of stuff that you can do by editing. You can make one sentence mean something completely different. Also, the editing applications can sometimes do like terrible unintentional clips. I remember when I was editing with LumaFusion, I used to edit all of my videos on this channel on LumaFusion because I honestly didn't have time to sit here at home and edit. I was going to work every day, and I would edit my videos during lunch breaks or during the train rides to work on my iPad in LumaFusion. And LumaFusion is not a terrible like video editing app. It has gotten like really good from the days that it was then. But I remember this one terrible editing mistake that I almost published, which really wouldn't matter that much because like honestly nobody was subscribed to this channel and like absolutely nobody watched any of my videos. But in the end of one of my videos, I remember saying this thing because like I was trying to do all of the same things that all the other YouTubers do, and I said something like, if you have found this video useful, please press the like button or subscribe or something like that. But the editing had somehow clipped that if word from that sentence. So it was, you have found this video useful. It sounded really aggressive and I almost uploaded it by accident. But again, no consequences, but today, if I made such a mistake, I would just like, I don't know, vanish. I don't ask people to like my videos. that often these days. I don't have like a principle out of it, but I just feel like every YouTuber ever does it in every one of their videos. And I think people know how YouTube works. If you dislike some video, you won't see more content from that creator, and YouTube will suggest something else to you, which is like honestly great for everybody. But anyway, I just feel like if you're the type of person who consumes a lot of YouTube, like I am, just like imagine counting all of those moments, like when people do that sort of like subscribe and tweet and reshare and I don't know, call your grandmother about these videos. If you hear that pitch in every single video, just imagine how much time you are kind of losing out of your life to just listen to that same stuff. Also, maybe it's because I'm like Finnish that asking people to like my videos seems like extra awkward for me to do. That could be the real reason that I'm not really altruistic. I just don't want to because it feels awkward. I'm gonna uncensor Umar's comment. Again, remember that YouTube systems do some censoring automatically, and it's not something that, like, obviously my hands are full doing this thing, that if your comment gets censored, then just be patient, and maybe I will see it when I check the chat. What is your biggest mistake you have made in your life? Oh, that's quite personal. Buy me a drink and I will tell you all of them. What is the biggest mistake? I have made like so many different mistakes that... That's a difficult one. Do you mean like in art or like otherwise in my life? Because I think all the mistakes that I do or have made in art, like those eventually help me learn things. So those are things that I can't really regret. I guess in life, I don't really regret it that much, but if I could live my entire life again, I guess I would just come out of the closet sooner, because I would do it anyway, and not doing it is just kind of wasting time. And the older I get, the more I understand that time is the most precious resource that I have. Even as a freelancer, you might be thinking about money issues all the time, but honestly, it's time. Time allows you to do things that you really can't buy in any other way. So I guess like all kinds of things in life that have ended up wasting time in me going where I'm going. I guess also, if I could kind of go back in time and give myself some advice, I would maybe encourage myself to have certain conversations or spend more time with the people that I know that are not going to be with us for a long time. So it's not something that I regret because I can't and I couldn't see the future, but yeah, I guess those things also have made me kind of brutally honest to not only to people that I feel like are wasting my time, but also people that I really like and love. I am more honest about my own emotions to those people. Like, for example, my best friend, I have probably said many times to him that how much it means to me to have him in my life. And that's the kind of conversations that I would probably not have had if I didn't have like this amount of like, I don't know how to say it, like death in my life in the last 5 years. But like those are important conversations to have, and I wish that I could make people kind of be more honest with the people that they love, even when there isn't this sort of like a pressure of limited time. You don't really lose anything by doing it, but it's scary to tell people how you feel. I haven't tried this brush out yet. I've been mainly using Bear Brush. James Carbo is saying. Can't stay long though, but I'll definitely watch it all when it's uploaded. Can't wait to see this one progress. Yeah, me neither. Wish I could do what I do and just like watch it later as a video. That would be really nice. Maybe have some coffee and paint something at the same time. The reason why I think that this brush is so great for doodling is because it has a quite strict line weight. It does increase in size a little bit, especially when you tilt the stylus sideways, but it is a pretty good brush to do kind of line rhythms. You can kind of use it for two things. You can make kind of like very soft looking fluffy paintings, but at the same time you can just use it for drawing. And I have done the painting method in my previous painting, and it's the next YouTube video that I'm going to publish. I think it's going to be called Cat Forest or Cat Forest Awakens, the painting. And I'm kind of happy with that painting. It turned out pretty different after the live stream was over and I finished the details, but I like the way that it kind of developed from there. Sydney saying, first time I've ever caught you live. Hello from New York. Hello, New York. I love watching your streams while I paint miniatures. Thank you for being inspiring for fellow artists. Well, Sydney, I have to tell you that in Finland we have one metro station here that has my paintings all over it. It is the biggest public artwork that I will probably ever do in my life, and I did it in New York Public Library. So if you are in New York, you have a great place there to make art. Also, it was the only quiet place that I could find in the time that I was in there. The hotel was fun too. It was this sort of like library themed hotel on the street of the library. And all the floors were kind of themed after different genres of writing. I think that was nice. This is the soundtrack, by the way, that I made for the Treehouse long-form process video. So often when I make painting videos, I will have like 8 or 16 hours of video that I will use as raw materials to do my normal YouTube videos. But then often people ask me that, like, can you post an unedited version? And of course I can't physically render 16 hours of video. That would just not be possible. But I make these longer. Like, for example, the Treehouse video is, I think, 2 hours long. So that is considerably slower. So it's not as sped up as my normal YouTube videos, and I don't edit out anything. But of course, like, I don't have a narrated version of 2 hours. That would just take way too long for me to make those sort of videos in between normal painting videos and painting and editing and like doing all the other work that I do. And I know this from experience because I just did that video series where I did for once, and I honestly thought that this would be easy. I thought that I'm gonna make a painting video that is 4 hours long, and I'm gonna talk through all the techniques in it, and it ended up taking 3 months of work. The video series that I published on Gumroad last week, I think. Yeah, it's funny how I thought that this is going to be easy, and it was like the hardest video project that I have ever done in my life. And there were so many moments that I accidentally like destroyed the whole project as well. And I ended up buying so much of these like SSDs because it's probably hard to understand when you watch like a 15-minute YouTube video, but it probably has like 6 to 8 no 6 to 8, but it's around 1 to 2 teras of footage that you are watching, because I want to keep the colors as accurate as possible. So I edit it all in 10-bit video, and the final compression happens only when I upload it to YouTube. So I don't keep compressing it in between so that the colors would be as clear as possible. And I don't know if anybody cares about this fact, but most of the videos on my channel are 4K video. And I think the 4K is important, especially in those long-form process videos that are a bit slower, because it's not just the painting, but some people like to kind of like watch the menus and what buttons I'm pressing at any point. And I think all of that would be really difficult if I didn't have those videos in 4K. I don't know, nobody has ever actually commented on this, but like that's just my reasoning for doing it in 4K. Thanks for sharing, Mikko. Engelröd, I can't pronounce the rest of that name, is saying, well, thanks for being here. Where can I connect to be a member? Like, there's a join button, I think, if you're watching this on PC, and it is also in the description of most of my videos. So even on phone, like those links, like it's the first link in the description, and it is kind of auto-generated in my YouTube settings, so it should be in every video. It should be in this one as well. I can't check it myself right now, but it's there. Is that Oli or Olli? Oli is saying, what inspires you to create these types of paintings? I love bears. You probably were expecting something more complicated. I just love bears. Also, I like paintings where I can do different kinds of like experiments with technique and color. And in this painting, I really want to kind of build these color layers by using these textures that are created just by the brush itself, and see where that takes me. Like these sort of textures. I think I should probably check the resolution at this point, because this is going to be very low number of layers type of painting. Whoa, this is tiny because I saw that it said 330. Okay, so DPI should always be at least 300. I'm gonna do 350. I always forget pressing this resample canvas button first. I wish I could just retroactively press it after I have done all the settings and So I don't know why the order matters. So people keep asking me about the resolution all the time, and what I am watching is that number at the top row that says, like, for example, I'm pointing at the screen and I just realized that you can't see it. So when I'm making these changes, like let's say that I'm gonna put 6,000 here. So here, can you see, it says 35 layers, just for a brief moment. And that's the number that I watch. The resolution that I input, that doesn't matter. Like, when people ask me for the resolution, they think that they need to just like input the same numbers for resolution as I do. And that is like the worst idea to do. Because it is relative to what kind of painting you are making. What is the subject? How many layers do you need? And I don't wanna like congratulate myself too much, but I am pretty good at layer management. I have been doing this for so long. I have been painting professionally for years and years. So for me, the layer management part is not the most difficult part of the process. But for somebody just starting out, the layer management is not super easy, and it's also something that you really don't want to be affecting the way that you paint. So have at least 5 extra layers more than you think that you need. And as you keep making paintings, and I mean like hundreds of paintings, then you eventually kind of start learning this workflow that you have and how many layers do you usually need. And then you can start making like more accurate guesses towards the lower end of what you might think you need. And there are so many situations where I accidentally need more layers than I had calculated beforehand. And in those cases, it's like almost like puzzle solving of how I can manage my layers so that I can get what I want without sacrificing the resolution, because that's the easiest solution to do in those sort of situations, and it's a choice that I almost never make. But those aren't important problems to handle or learn to manage when you're starting out or haven't done your 300 paintings yet. So there are so many more important things to learn. So when people ask me that resolution question, I feel like it's kind of doing them a disservice to just put the numbers out there, because I know why somebody would ask that question. And it kind of makes me feel uneasy that I might have somehow like caused them like extra frustration with their own painting process, because like that's not the intention of this channel. Hi Mikko from England. I'm watching with a cup of tea. I tried tea sometimes when I try to get rid of coffee. I mean, like, I appreciate people who can appreciate tea. It's just that it made my life like 100% worse, so I couldn't stick to tea. Anyway, I need to read the whole thing. I'm a newer subscriber and I love your work. Welcome. And it's so great to hear you talking about LGBT plus issues. You're awesome. Keep it up. Visibility is important. It is. Umar, I'm gonna just ignore that. Honestly, that series was worth every hour of work. Oh. So Chroma was saying earlier, love your content, been watching your Sky Academy breakdown and honestly loved every bit of it. Of course, GCSEs messed everything up. Is that some kind of a school thing, this GCSE thing? Can somebody explain me? I'm unfamiliar with that term. But I'm really glad that you have like the video series because, like I said, it was a lot of work. I don't want to speak about it too much here, but the members of this channel, like, they know that I am starting a new video series project and it's going to be quite different, and I have already written the first 2 parts of it and I just need to film them. I want to have that series started before December ends. But I'm really excited about that now. When I finished the video series, I thought, like, that's it. I'm never making these again. I mean, in the publishing week when I was launching the video series, I was so sure that this is the day, so many days in a row, but just new things kept popping up. Like, for example, at the last minute, I noticed that one of the subtitle tracks that I had uploaded was the wrong one for one of the videos, and it had one word that was consistently spelled wrong in there. And can you imagine how hard it is to like find those sort of mistakes in like 4 hours of subtitles? It's not easy. So luckily I managed to find that, but like all of these like small things that I kept finding, like small things to tweak all the time, it just built more and more anxiety about like, am I ready to even like do this? How am I qualified to make something this complicated at all? And the publishing process too is a bit scary because I have really nothing bad to say about Gumroad. Sometimes people think that I run Gumroad, that it's somehow my shop, but Gumroad is its own separate company and I just sell my own digital products through that company, and they are a really, really good provider of this service. And in previous years, I was paying for a monthly subscription for it, and I never complained about the price of the monthly subscription, because every time I had some kind of an issue or didn't know something, or a customer was asking some kind of question, I would write through the normal customer support that, by the way, any customer can contact, and they would always reply within the same day, and they have always been super helpful and nice, and it's the kind of customer service that like really really made me feel kind of more confident in like having any type of an online shop at all, because with the bureaucracy of Finland it's really scary to make anything for sale. But as a freelancer, like those things help me focus more on like content that is directed towards people who follow me online for like art reasons and not to buy like paintings or design work from me. Because the paintings that people usually buy from me, like I can't in most cases post any of that stuff because it's all under NDAs. It would probably be different if I did like cheaper commissions for individuals, but I usually can't afford to do those. So it's usually small companies that ask things. Anyway, I'm also kind of glad that I did manage to launch the video series, and I made it because I learned so many things. I learned so many things about the whole process. So I was supposed to say like this one scary aspect about uploading videos to Gumroad, that they do like video processing the same way that YouTube does. Like for example, if I publish a YouTube video, the YouTube systems will have to process that video before it's published. But Gumroad doesn't process videos that aren't attached to a product that isn't published yet. So I had to press the publish button and then just hope that the 4 hours of like insanely large video files would like get processed without any glitches. So that was scary, but it happened in like minutes. I remember that I went out for a run with Vivi, and during that run they already sent me an email that it has been processed. But like that was very anxiety inducing few minutes there. I guess whenever you do like any of those sort of like bigger projects where you have so many different elements, you can watch all the tutorials in the world, but at the end of the day, you will still have to somehow just like learn by doing. It's just scarier when it has a price tag attached to it. How old are you? I'm ancient. Really ancient. Hello from Vancouver. That is a really cool bear emoji. Devin is saying, "Hi Mikko, hope you're having a great day." It has been a nice day so far. Also, thank you for the super chat. That's really cool. It has been kind of like a quiet day. I've been alone in the house with Vivi, and I went to do a workout on my own. Usually I do these group classes now. It's too cold outside for me to run outside, but I think one thing that has kept my brain sane during the past few weeks and all of this work has been that I have been really prioritizing doing a workout every single day. I mean, for me, it always goes like up and down. Sometimes I'm in a terrible shape, and at the best of times, I'm just like almost mediocre at working out. But I think I have been like consistently mediocre almost the whole month now. And it does like just keep my brain sane. But for me, like doing a hard workout and art somehow are still not really compatible. Like when I do a hard workout where I feel like I'm completely dead afterwards, like I definitely don't feel like starting a painting after that. So usually I paint in the morning or day and then do like other kind of responsibilities later in the day. I'm jealous of Finland, Chroma is saying. I love running outside, but the weather always sucks in England. No, it doesn't. You guys have the best weather. It's always raining and it's super foggy during winter months. I mean, like, I would switch to that. I love snow, though. I love snow. Last time I was in England, I was staying near that Tower Bridge in Doubletree Hotel, and when I was going there, there were all of these like chaotic news articles that like it's a complete chaos in England. The weather is crazy. We're going through an insane blizzard, so all schools are closed and just try to survive somehow. May God save your souls and let the Queen be with us. And then I go there. There's no snow anywhere. Somebody's like running towards me in shorts. It's like this is the level of catastrophe weather. I mean, if that's enough to cause news articles, like you guys haven't seen real blizzards. I just thought that it was just so hilarious. I understand that maybe UK doesn't have the same kind of, like for example in Finland, we have a law that during a certain date, you have to have your car tires changed to winter tires that have like small metallic studs in them that make them have more friction. So if you don't have that, then I like understand that it will be more dangerous to drive around. But still. It's just snow. I think I wanna completely repaint that halo later. I think I had my first fight ever with YouTube customer service about copyright stuff, because this soundtrack was in that 2-hour treehouse painting video, long form process. And when I uploaded that video, I got these copyright strikes that 2 of the songs are copyrighted material. And if a video has a copyright notice like that, that video will automatically be monetized. And for me, that was obviously like something that I can't allow to happen. I hadn't published that video yet, but I can't publish a video like that and have ads on there, because none of my membership content has ads. So I knew that those songs are songs that I have the license to use, because I have downloaded all of those tracks from these 3 music services that I use. So I contacted the music service, and then later I noticed that the song that had this copyright claim on it was not under the same name that it was in my Audition file, because I edit all the audio in Audition. So the automatic detector for music, it had kind of misplaced the detection to another song, and all of these copyright claims go to the artists themselves. It's a legal process where YouTube themselves don't have like any say, or they don't partake in this conversation, because at that point it's a legal case. So it's kind of scary to write back a contesting copyright claim thing. But I knew that I have this music service on my side because I talked with them. I think their customer service was pretty good about this, but I couldn't get anybody from YouTube to take like responsibility that this algorithm or whatever automated bot system had detected the song wrong, because when I sent this contested copyright claim back to the artist, they really don't have that much of a reason or incentive to be on my side or like write back. They have 30 days to write back to a contested copyright claim to either release it or say that like, yes, this content is mine to use. But luckily, both of those artists released that quite quickly. But before that happened, I noticed that this is going to take 30 days. And at that point, I thought that like, okay, the members, like they shouldn't suffer because of this. Like, obviously, I own the rights to use this music, but I can't wait 30 days to release this video. Like, the members, like, they shouldn't suffer because of this kind of nonsense. So I just made a different soundtrack and published the video with those songs changed. But I left the unpublished version in the system, and I contested the copyright claim just to see for future that like how long that process would take, and it took about 3 days before those claims were released, and YouTube gave me back the rights to use that video as my own. But yeah, I think at that point the kind of accumulated stress of like working non-stop had maybe like blurred my judgment that I could have just let the situation go, but like it somehow got to me. I mean, it was only like few songs, like it's not that important. I guess I was also angry that like I pay for this service and this is the exact reason that I pay for that service, that I don't have to deal with that stuff somehow. But in that moment, I just kind of like lost my like sense of bigger picture that like it wasn't that important. Sometimes even when you're right, doesn't mean that it's worth the effort to spend so much time on stuff like that, because all of this happened on Sunday evening when I thought like, okay, now is the one part of the week that I can just like not work for a little bit, and I'm gonna just maybe sit on the couch and play some video games. I have just started Astral Chain, and I ended up writing emails until 11 p.m. on a Sunday. the one time that I thought that I would have some time for myself because of this stuff. But obviously I could have just let it go. You live in Finland. I'm moving there this month. Welcome. Akaihana art. Is that like red flower art? Where in Finland are you moving? I need a new car, so driving in snow stresses me out because I can lose control easily on a bad day. I don't have a driver's license, so for me just the thought of driving is so stressful that I think it's better that nobody gives me a permission to drive. I don't think that would be good for society. It's not that I'm like worried about myself when I'm would be driving, but just having all of these insanely expensive cars at both sides of the road and then driving a heavy vehicle through that, like that, just the thought of that seems like, I don't know, not something that appeals to me in any way. Also, I'm car blind. I'm like completely car blind. To me, when people talk about car designs, like it reminds me of like people talking about phone designs. Because to me, it doesn't make sense to talk about phone designs. They're all the same. Like if it has like curved edge or not, it really doesn't matter that much to me. When Apple reveals their new like design for a new phone, it's just like the least important part of the entire thing to me. And the same goes for cars. I think cars look so similar that I can't tell them apart. Also, I don't get excited about car design in any way. I guess the only exception to this was when I saw that Cybertruck. I thought that like it looked like a concept car, but an actual car. I think that was like exciting. And I understand that a lot of people probably hate it for that, but I'm not a car person, so like you shouldn't care about what I think about that design. I guess whenever you have like a design that makes a statement, it will annoy a lot of people, and that's the risk that most car companies cannot make for understandable reasons, because the manufacturing cost of their product is so expensive that they cannot just like accidentally fail one of their cars completely. I don't know. I really should stop talking about things that I know nothing about. Please ask me something about art. Have you tried liquid glass on your iPad to help protect the screen? The screen doesn't need protecting. I've been using iPads for how many years now? Never had a scratch. Never had a scratch, and I carry it absolutely everywhere. I have painted on boats, moving trucks, airplanes, just wherever. On a bus. Just have a carry case that you can put it in when you're not using it. That's it. I've never had a screen protector of any kind. I've only tried it a few times, not on my own iPad, but my friends. And I don't like the feeling of that at all. It makes painting less fun. It might be fitting if you like mostly do only drawing and not painting, but obviously that's not me, so it's not for me. Unless you got a certain number of followers, YouTube customer service doesn't exist. Yeah, I think this partnership program ability to have a live chat support only comes after a certain subscription level. And that might be a resource thing. If you think about it, there are millions of YouTube channels, and obviously they can't all have people available for all of those creators to talk with. That would be just way too expensive, even for somebody like something like Google. But I think the customer service so far has been really okay, considering that like they really don't have to do it, but it's something that just has helped me with like just creator problems. But the conversation that I had, I think we had just like a communication error. Like the person wasn't able to communicate to me where that message that I'm sending goes. And maybe it's also my fault that I wasn't able to ask that question as clearly. Obviously, I'm not a native English speaker. And in a situation like that, I cannot rule out the fact that maybe I made some like language errors without even noticing it. this was the perfect time for a live for me. Knitting and morning coffee while I watch Love from Edmonton, Canada. It's nice that for once the timing was good. For me, it's quite late in here, and I'm alone at the house, so it was a good opportunity to do a live stream. I also thought that like I've been doing so many morning live streams here, and often in those people say that like it was the wrong time or people were sleeping when that happened. So I'm sorry about that, but I try to have these live streams in separate different times of the day so that as many of you as possible can see them. But sometimes if I can't do it at a perfect time, then I will do it at a not perfect time, because I think maybe it's better for me to do a live stream at a bad time and then at least have that live replay available for everybody than just like not doing a live stream at all. Sometimes life gets in the way. I'm sure you understand. Mikko, you need to take a holiday, so much stress. Well, I am planning that after Christmas I won't be working on like any YouTube stuff until January. So that's few days of the year. But before then I will try to make content available so that I have stuff for my members even when I am away. But for that, I need to kind of be extra productive this month. Now I think it's more fun that now I can focus on new projects, and just starting new things is always exciting. I think finishing big projects is important, but it can be really scary. I love these new size nodes in the new update of Procreate. It's my favorite new feature, honestly. It's the new feature that I use the most, and I will probably keep using it. I recently asked on my Instagram that how many think that imagination is something that you can train. Did any of you take part in that poll? I think the results of that poll were quite surprising to me. I thought it would be not as clear what people think about it. Basically, do you think that imagination is something that you are born with, something that you just have or don't have, or is it like a skill that you can get better at? Akaihana is moving to Järvenpää, Finland, which is not that far away from here. I see some comment that is just slipping away from my read, so I'm gonna scroll back a little bit. Are you ever going to make animation videos again? Like about the videos where I make an animation. I'm really not an animator. It's something that I will like dabble in, and then I will get all these comments that you are not an animator. Why are you making this video? It's just creative stuff that is fun to try. So in that sense, probably yes, I will make more videos like that. But I'm not gonna make a tutorial, because obviously for that stuff you would be better served by somebody who does that for a living. Laura is saying, hi Mikko, do you think that making a living of art is harder nowadays since it's super saturated on social media? Wanted to hear your thoughts on this. I don't think that landscape has changed that much, to be honest, because previously you would just have your physical portfolio and you would walk from gallery to gallery and try to be visible in art galleries that are fancy and expensive. And competition was hard then. Competition is hard now. But nobody else is doing the kind of art that you can make. So that's the only way for you to be competitive, is to be your own voice. That's why I always encourage people to make their own art on this channel. I think we have already enough of those channels where people make the same paintings by following a tutorial, and I don't think that is helpful in that sense. If somebody wants to be like a professional artist someday, because technique and this sort of imagination, they are just as difficult skills to learn. By difficult, I mean that they are just as time consuming. It takes a really long time to find your own way of making art that expresses how you see the world and how you want to communicate about what you are seeing. That's a skill that takes years and years to learn, and some have this mindset that like first you need to learn the technical skills and then you get a permission to make art, and I don't believe that at all. You are an artist when you make art, and the finished products are art, and you can do those two things at the same time. You can do technical studies that will be art when they are complete, and that's the way that I would recommend doing it, and I think it's way more rewarding way to learn art as well, because you have all of this like huge body of work that you have made in the process, and there's not going to be a magical day when somebody walks to you and says that like now you are ready, now you get this permission to make art. But if at that point you have only hammered to yourself that like I only get to do skull anatomy studies that need to be photorealistic, then you are like in the very beginning of that other journey of finding your own voice. And you couldn't, it doesn't mean that you can't do like realistic studies of things. Of course you can, but it's just about your own way of seeing things. This is why photography is also an art form, because we all live in this same world anyway, but it's about how you frame it, how you light it, what things you think are interesting to show to other people, to make them notice those things that you are noticing. I don't think that's something that you should start practicing after you have painted 8 years. That should have already been there all along. Vivi? I have a secret weapon, a chicken cookie. These look like very tasty, but I'm not gonna eat it. I'm gonna give it to my fox. Vivi, tule. Miksi siimaat? Hyvä. Maahan. No. She likes the chicken cookies. It's my one way of having some kind of power in a situation where she's being difficult. Do you think it's more difficult to paint hyper-realistic or animated? Do you mean by animated like style of like animation? I feel like realistic is easier because you have a very specific reference, but I would love your thoughts on it. Like obviously, depending on how realistic you make something, there's no end to how difficult that can be. But when you make something more stylized, then you have kind of more subjective criteria on quality. And I guess that's up to you to decide how you see that quality. There's no objective way of looking at that something is bad art or something is good art. It's all about how you see it. And when you're studying art, I really would recommend anybody, like everybody, to let go of this, what I think is a very harmful way of thinking about the word art. Art as a word doesn't have any meaning of quality in it. Just because something is art doesn't mean that it's good or bad. When you make art, say that it is art. You're not making a statement about the quality of your art, it is just art. And when you see art that you don't think is of high quality, don't start these like nonsense arguments about it that like this is not art, it's so bad that it's not art. That's not a good reason. Something can be bad art that you don't enjoy, but it doesn't make it any less art. This is one of those things that you could just spend endless amount of energy like fighting with other people, but it's not gonna lead to anywhere good. The only thing that you might manage by doing this is by limiting your own view of like what art can be, and that's the only impact on the world that you might have by taking part in those sort of arguments. So try to keep the space of what art can be as big and open for yourself as possible. I used to like be in all of these like dumb arguments, but yeah, it didn't lead to anywhere good or meaningful. I had this friend who's not living in Finland anymore, but he's a performance artist, and performance art is something that I used to have kind of like negative feelings about. That I don't understand when somebody's like screaming in an art gallery, they are doing art, but when I do it, people ask me to be quiet and say that I am scaring the kids and that I need to leave the supermarket. How is that not art then? Anyway, out of like these dumb thoughts, that friend also, I went to many of his like to see his performance pieces, and one of his performance art pieces was this trip to an island. That was this sort of like trip experience that is an island in the middle of Helsinki, and we went there during sunrise, and we could only get there with a boat. One of the guys was rowing the boat, and then we got these sketchbooks, and we could document our time by drawing or writing on that island, and it's just like was one of the most memorable art pieces that I've been ever like part of. And all these other participants in this performance, like they were complete strangers to me, but there we were. Like it was so early in the morning that I had to leave during night to get there, and it was during sunrise, and it was really beautiful and memorable. It's something that I would never have done ever on my own. I think there was also pie as part of that. It was like a trip. The kind of trip that kids go on in daycares, but you never get the experience as an adult. And I think it was just wonderful. Now, whether you think that is art or not, doesn't change my experience of it. Remember that. Kailani is asking, Mikko, what is your favorite thing about bears? I like the ears the most. They are always super fun to draw. And they just look amazing. Especially black bear ears. Like, those are amazing. All you have to do to answer this question is just like Google black bears and look at their ears. I think that's enough explanation. Nothing that I can say will illustrate that point better. I need to go out with Vivi at some point. Need to start painting faster. I have done a few like more realistic bear pieces, but I guess I kind of like this, like my own way of stylizing bears. It also allows me to kind of paint more freely. Like there's a lot of like these squiggly lines that I just let the brush do what it kind of naturally does. And then I just try to fix it. And the bear can act like this sort of like a container for all of these different techniques and experiments. And it also makes me feel like the bear is kind of like keeping me company. I especially like these like sitting positions where the bear is looking with this certain kind of silent expression. It feels like the painting is keeping me company. And when I look at paintings like these, I have a few of them printed here in my home. Those paintings kind of remind me what it felt like to paint them. And it just makes me happy. Because the way that the paintings are done, like especially like this painting, this style, when I look at a painting done in this style, because I can see so clearly the brushstroke groups, and just like the technique is so visible in this painting, that it reminds me of this moment when I'm painting it later, when I watch this painting. Vivi, ethän sä tehnyt mitään tyhmää siellä. I can hear some sounds, and when you have a corgi that is unattended, nobody's keeping her company, then she will come up with a task that I won't like. Usually it's eating something that she shouldn't be eating. That could be a phone charger, a microphone, whatever looks super tasty. She has eaten so many of my credit cards. I need to order a new one because the last one was also shredded to bits in that shark, tube of a shark. Is it full winter in Finland? Somebody was asking about pixel art. I will do more pixel art in the future when it's time. Yes, it's full winter in here and it's so cold. It's surprising that there's already like days when there's snow on the ground. Right now there's snow where I live. And it's so cold during the day it doesn't melt away. But it's not always like this during December. I don't know if like everybody is aware of this, but part of global warming is also some areas of the world get colder during certain times because of the currents change, and the winters have sometimes been like extremely cold. But they just end sooner now. Can I do like a bottom of the paw or one of these? Here. Tyson Shower is asking, could you do a tutorial on how you do trees, like your bear brush, the most so far? Thanks. By the way, for those who are interested in the video series, bear brush is included in that video series because I use it for the full painting process in Sky Garden Academy. I think tree tutorial is one of those things that I will probably do like a series of videos, because it's too complicated to do just like one video on, and I think that would maybe work best as a video series, because it would be so frustrating to just like have like some snippets. But I think I would be able to do like a series of tutorials that kind of teach you how to paint trees. I honestly think that I could make that kind of a promise if I just worked on it. it's still strange that every time I do one of these live stream sessions, like without any exceptions, before every single one, I always think that like, I can paint live. This is not going to work out at all because like, I don't know how to pretend to do this for several hours. What if nothing happens? That there's just no painting every time, like same fears. I think the good thing about these scheduling things is that I can do the technical part and the actual starting kind of like separately. Like for example, when I schedule myself a live stream now, then I actually have to do it because I have already set the wheels in motion and it will happen. Maybe one day when I do a live stream, then I will just like bail and feel like, nope, it's not too scary. If there's one thing that I want from the next iPad, it is that if they could somehow solve this brightness switching thing. It's not about the automatic adjustments because I have set those off, but it still does it all the time. All of the iPads have been the same. They have this setting that you can turn off the automatic brightness switching, but it will do it anyway. It's probably not trying to do that function, but something is causing the brightness of the screen to sometimes go through these really drastic steps, and it is incredibly distracting for painting. When I make these color choices that I don't like, instead of using the eraser or going back, when I have the time, I paint over it. Because when you have, for example, a brush like that causes like this texture, then you kind of just keep building up that texture and the colors end up looking kind of better, even though you use the wrong colors to get there. But when you have them all built up in these layers, then the colors will optically mix in the viewer's eyes. And that way the color will be always more rich than just having like one flat hue. By the way, if anybody wants to like screen grab this palette, feel free to do so. I'm gonna leave it for a few seconds as I take some coffee and read comments. And Tuko is saying, I agree that art should be for art's sake, not pleasing others. If others like it, fine. If not, that's okay too. Yeah, and art can have a positive effect in somebody's life, even if they don't like it. It might make them think some things that they previously didn't think, or it might push their boundaries still to be a bit wider if they just accept it as art, or if they just accept that that thought comes into their head, even if it's not a pleasant thought. what is your perspective about NFT? Like, well, this week somebody tried to sell my work as NFTs on OpenSea. So, not great. Luckily, it was taken down after I reported it, but even the reporting was extremely suspicious because I basically gave absolutely no information on myself. I gave like no pictures of IDs or anything. So if that person had been me, somebody could have reported me with the exact same non-information that I gave them, and that whole shop was taken down. It was basically somebody doing an art scam by using my art. But if you're doing NFTs, think about it. Like these websites, they really don't care about you at all. Also, they don't care about the environment. If we somehow get to a place where we have like these big platforms that are actually compensating for the environment damage, or they use methods of minting NFTs that are not destructive for the environment, then I will consider it. But also when the public also understands this, when the public is educated enough to understand that what kind of NFTs are bad NFTs and what kind of NFTs are more environmentally safe, less hazardous at least. But currently the whole NFT community like don't have positive thoughts about it. I've also stopped following some artists where I started mainly to focus on making NFTs. Just not that they are making NFTs, but I know for a fact that they are using websites that don't care about how the NFTs are minted and are not compensating for the environmental impact of those NFTs. So I can't help it, but like I just lost respect for them. I can't like even look at their art the same way anymore. Every week somebody contacts me that they want to help me to produce my own NFTs, but not even once has anybody contacted me and stated in their first sentence that this service that we are using is environmentally more safe way to do NFTs. Not one. So they always say that like they have been following me for a long time and they want to collaborate with me on an NFT project. But that is all just like spam emails that they send all the artists the same. Because if anybody like really followed me for 2 seconds and saw how I feel about the NFTs, they would mention it in the first sentence. So I usually just don't even read those. I don't think the time is ready. I don't think the public is there either. Currently, I think the impression, and rightly so, is that NFTs are like a selfish way to make art. Because in most cases it is. I know that there are exceptions of some websites and ways of minting NFTs that is not comparable to most of them, but most of them are bad, so I don't think their reputation can be fixed quite overnight. And it matters. So much of my art is about nature and environment. It would seem weird if I just started using something like foundation suddenly. There's a little fox wandering around the house, wondering where her evening snacks are. I'm gonna give her a chicken cookie. Vivi, tule! Yes. Baby. I love making these parts in the playlist edits. I think doodling is underrated. It's so fun to just like make these sort of like squiggly lines and let the painting or drawing draw itself. And then you can just watch it happen. These parts are really fun for me to watch later when I can just focus on one area and follow the brushstroke groupings. Like for example here, by brushstroke grouping I mean that all of these like small squiggles in this halo, they are kind of same size and the direction of the brushstrokes has this sort of like same squiggly shape to it. But then when we go into the bear itself, we have a different kind of brushstroke grouping, which is this more vertical, more textured, and then we have the next phase of that same squiggles but in bigger shape down below. If you remember that I started this painting at very low resolution state and then I scaled it up, you can see that I have these like very blurry lines underneath, but I kind of like the contrast in sharpness between these two things. It just happens to fit this one area quite well. Mikko knew I wanted the color palette telepathically. Yes, yes, I could sense it. Thanks. If you know 1000, he has the same perspective as you. I'm happy to know that artists like you who are known care for our environment. I think it's up to the artist community to change these NFTs because the technology is there. I mean, I love the fact that not before in like the history of humanity, as long as I have been doing this, people haven't been able to like sell digital artworks that haven't been commissioned by anybody. I think this is really important for all of us. I think the art itself can evolve a lot because of this. That part is really important, and the technology is there. For example, as bad as like minting these NFTs is, one of the techniques that people have been using is by minting 100 or 1,000 of them in a group, and that is already 1,000 times less costly for the environment. Like obviously it's not the same thing anymore when it's like 1,000 times less. Like why can't like all of these platforms just commit to, for example, that method, or just take them completely out of the blockchain and have like physical record of authenticity? Like all of these methods already exist. If people just use them, then I wouldn't have to have like any negative thoughts about this thing. So I really don't want to partake in like black and white conversations about this, but that's usually how people behave on the internet. So but I want the technology to evolve, and I think it's up to the art community to demand them to do better. And I think it's also up to the customers to demand the product to be better. Because as much as people might be wanting this to happen, it's all about the money flow. When people keep paying for the product as it is, that is just sending the message that this is already profitable enough that we don't need to change. But money talks. When people vote with their wallets, then these platforms can change as well. I think I need some like more flowers in like this area that are brighter. I honestly just think that Vivi needs my help now more than I have time to paint here. I think the fun thing with this style is just like being able to kind of experiment everywhere. Like there might be a painting underneath, but I can just draw bright line art of these flowers on top, and it's fine. You can try and stop me, but you won't succeed. I'm gonna do it. Okay, like yellow flowers seem like a thing that needs to happen. This isn't really yellow, but it's close enough. Context makes the color. Because I am surrounded by so many cool greens and blues, that makes even the greenish yellows look more yellow. Just need to decide on a shape language and then stick with it. For these, do like round elements. But then a separate layer, yes. Just makes adding the stems easier. Have the Christmas parties happened already? Because I'm not in like the corporate world anymore. I don't have Christmas parties for work reasons. I might be attending this Christmas party for Finnish YouTubers, which is the first time that I'm doing this, but I don't know. It might be fun. I need to kind of push myself into these like social gatherings because otherwise working on YouTube and my art projects, it's kind of isolating. I don't see a lot of people in my life, so it might be fun. Who knows? Let's hope. I'm kind of glad that I added these yellow flowers. I also got this invitation from the game company that I used to work in. They invited me to a Christmas party, but I don't know. It might be weird. Because so many of the people who worked there when I was there have already left. If I just don't know any of the new people, then I hate being in a party where I don't know anybody. I'm not great at spontaneous networking. I love music like this. Just if I didn't have to walk Vivi, I would just paint like this all night. You probably can't see what I'm doing, so I'm gonna switch to the overhead camera. Like, to make brushstrokes like this, I really have a very loose grip of the stylus, and I'm holding it almost completely sideways. That way I can get the maximum size and have a lot of that texture that just builds those layers. As you can see, like in this close-up, you can see that that texture is made out of multiple different colors that I have already put on this surface in that same way. somehow it makes me feel like this is a really important bear. Bear was chosen for some important task. Maybe he doesn't know it himself yet. It's just kind of now dawning on him. Lara is saying doodling is hard for me. I often start to overthink parts, brushstrokes too early so that they can grow freely. Yeah, I think it just might be a skill. But, I mean, skill part being that you learn to just at some point, hopefully, to let go of thinking about how other people will see your piece. I mean, to be completely honest, you will never be completely free of that. Of course, I care about how other people see my paintings, but the goal when I'm doing an art piece like this, honestly, I kind of sometimes just pretending that nobody's watching me when I'm doing this, that I am just having fun and enjoying the painting. That is the goal. Of course, I don't always get there, but in this painting, there has been this... I kind of like this character. I think this bear looks like a kind bear. It's fun to squiggle and doodle paint strokes around this environment because the character himself makes this feel like it's a safe environment for me to paint. And to be honest, it's also you guys. Not often I don't get a lot of like random haters on this channel during live streams. I guess because live streams aren't really I've said this before, but they're not a great way to grow a channel. That's not the point why I'm doing this. I just like talking with you guys, maybe also because I don't see that many actual people in my life, so I consider you my friends. So it's kind of fun to spend this time. Like, I feel like we're kind of making art together, and a lot of people say that they are doing their own paintings when they are watching my live streams, and I feel like I'm not alone in this activity because of that. I feel like I'm somehow getting away with this whole tree without deciding on any specific color. Just trying to put whatever colors I feel like on this foliage. And just not mention that I'm doing it. Maybe nobody will notice. I'm doing very soft brush strokes here because I want that texture to be visible, but if I press too hard, then you will see that I will kind of clog up and kind of drive the brush stroke into the grain itself, and that will create an opaque brush stroke. That's part of the brush muscle control that is important to learn when you are learning how to use any brush. And the thing that I said in the beginning of this bending process, that I wanted to have a better control of this brush, and now when I'm doing these brush strokes, I feel like I have definitely progressed in that regard, that now this Foggy Hill brush is much easier for me to control. Basically, when you are putting down a brushstroke, it shouldn't be a surprise of how opaque, how transparent, how big or small that brushstroke is. When you have done enough paintings with that same brush, then you will already know what kind of brushstroke you are making when you are making that, when you're touching the screen with your stylus. That's why I don't recommend people kind of like hopping from brush to brush all the time. Because that makes it almost impossible to learn how to use one brush with control. Also setting the pressure curve, that helps as well. So I recommend that you do that, especially if you are gripping your stylus very tightly. You shouldn't ever develop wrist or finger pain, even if you paint all day, every day. That shouldn't happen. By the way, for the person who is moving to Finland, I don't know if you're still here, but you're gonna be moving into Finland when it's usually the most difficult time for people to move in here, because the winters here are very dark. During the darkest days, the sun doesn't rise in the north at all. So when you wake up, it's going to be night. And when you get out of work, or when you're going to work or school, it's going to be night. And when you go to the grocery store, it's nighttime. So that is usually very difficult for people to get used to. So good luck. Good luck. Also, don't mistake people being very quiet for them being rude to you. They will be probably very friendly when you go and talk to them, but Finnish people don't like to approach others and start conversations, especially with the strangers, so it can be really difficult to get to know people here. There was a circle shape here, and circle shapes are one of those things in a composition that will automatically direct the eye to that area, and because it wasn't anywhere near my focal point here, that's why I decided to get rid of it. So if you have, for example, a character in your illustration that has like a large... wow, I forgot that I'm still in this overhead. Shut. Sorry. Yeah, I should make that automatic somehow. Anyway, I forgot that I had that camera mode. So if you have like a large hat on your character, it will probably be the place where people are looking at in your illustration, because round shapes, especially circle shapes, will draw the attention immediately. The winters in Finland make it pretty difficult to be a YouTuber. Like, for example, now, you probably don't guess it from this picture, but I have like massive lights on in this room right now. Currently, it's just blasting into my face directly. There's like a beam of light on the table. Okay, I think I can add more stuff to the foreground and work on these things afterwards, but I think the theme is pretty much there. I just need to take care of this small fox bear that I have here and make sure that she gets her evening treats and goes to sleep on time. Thank you everybody for joining this live stream, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, because it was one of those live streams where I thought like I have really no idea what I'm going to do, but I really like this outcome and I can't wait to finish this and post it online. So all of my art is going to be on Instagram. I also have like a tiny Twitter account, which is kind of random, but it's fun. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling like I usually do at the end of live streams and just stop this right here. Okay, again, thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. The next video will be about cat forest, and I'm gonna show how I finished that painting after the live stream was over, and the topic will be imagination. I think that's a really fun video to make. Okay, also I will be posting a long form process of the cat forest video, and the first part is kind of like speedier, and the last part that I have painted afterwards will be more slowed down, so that the members can see all the techniques used there, because doing the details was a really big part of that project, and it has so many trees that I just wanted that footage to be more easy to understand. Okay, so that will be for members later. I'm still editing it. It's an insane amount of footage. Okay, I'm rambling again. Bye.